So welcome everybody to online racing on Forza Horizon 5. So yeah, we're trying out the Renault Megane RS250 from 2010. It's a newly added car to the game, although not a newly added car to the series. It's been on a fair few of the Forza games since it's a 13-year-old car now. But yeah, upgraded it fair a bit. It's got 290 horsepower now, which is 40 horsepower more than it had originally, and 291 pounds-feet of torque, which is 37 pounds-feet of torque more than it had originally from its standard 2-litre turbocharged inline 4 engine. So yeah, pretty potent, especially since it now weighs 79 pounds less at 2,979 pounds. So yeah, pretty good all around. To be honest, I have upgraded other elements, but we'll get to that soon. For now, let's concentrate on racing. So I have had some success in trying this out first on my own. Got a few podium positions, so let's see if we can keep that going. The handling is really good. Already was in the standard car, but I've made it that a little bit extra better, so we can deal with anything that these kind of races throw at them. A lot of people always miss out on that checkpoint. It's a very harsh checkpoint to get right sometimes, especially in these kind of races which are quite frenetic. But if you know about it, you can prepare for it and take advantage of anyone that misses it. Right, obviously so a lot of people are using Fords at the moment because it is a cool challenge on the current festival playlist. Use a Ford in any open custom race. Now this car isn't my absolute favourite hot hatchback in stock form, particularly because I think the engine noise isn't the best, but it's still a really good example of the kind of car. I should say a really good example of a hot hatchback. 250 horsepower is what it had originally, which for 13 years ago was pretty high. There's very few hot hatchbacks that were more powerful than that at the time. I think there was a Scirocco, a Golf GTI, or a Golf R, whichever one it was called, and maybe a Ford, and that was pretty much it. So yeah, this was before your Mercedes A45 AMGs, your even more potent Audis and the like. To be honest, Renault still kicking out powerful hot hatchbacks like this as well, so more power to them, quite frankly. Doing pretty well on this as well. Certainly faster at the top end than it ever was originally, and certainly quicker in terms of acceleration. Still not the fastest by any means, but it's more than enough when you combine it with the handling. Which I'm not particularly showing off there. Get the win over the Ford Puma in second place. Yep, that's a pretty good showing from the Renault there. So yeah, it can now do 0 to 60 in 5.805 seconds, 0 to 113.001 seconds, and go to a top speed of 163, which is pretty good. Yeah, not often you find many standard hot hatchbacks from nowadays that can do more than 160. So yeah, all in all, very good figures, quite frankly. And yeah, the car itself handles beautifully because of the extra upgrades that I've given it, which we'll talk about in the next race. For now, let's soak up the win that we've got and the wheel spin result, something we don't need. And yeah, hopefully there's a next race to get right into. Come on. Loading times are the worst when it comes to online racing. So we're jumping into 3 new ones. So yeah, we'll do these 3 new ones in this episode, because that first race was just a bit of a taster. So yeah, let's just quickly look at the stats themselves. So yeah, 5.9 speed, 5.9 handling, and 5.2 braking are all really rather good. Acceleration and launch are a little bit on the downside, but the acceleration is more potent in the mid-range. It's not particularly great off the line because of the launch, but once you get up and going and get through those gears, it is really rather quite good. So yeah, and yeah, the handling is better on this car now because I have given it wider front tyres, uprated brakes, lower suspension, and obviously the lighter weight also helps in terms of handling as well as acceleration. So yeah, all in all, it's a very good car in B class, I find. Not sure how it performs in A class, not tried to upgrade it to that level yet, but I feel like front wheel drive cars with any more than 300 horsepower in that class might struggle a fair bit, because this is not quite at the limit in terms of handling with the handling upgrades I've given it, and obviously you could make the tyres even wider at the rear as well as the front, and give it obviously different tread on the tyres as well, and knock out even more weight. But I still don't feel like that would do a great deal when you have to upgrade the power to the level that you have to upgrade it to get it into A class to be competitive, because yeah, 290 I don't think will be anywhere near enough in that class. Be looking at maybe like 350, which I don't really think this car would handle, to be honest, even with upgrades. So yeah, I think we're around about the sweet spot with this. Let's see if we can catch up to that Sierra, which clearly has better launch than we do. Either because it's all-wheel drive now, or because rear-wheel drive it's pretty good off the line. So we've got a lot of power in that. I imagine that's all that's had done to it, quite frankly. I'm surprised if the handling is all that good given how quick it looks like it is. It is a little bit annoying when you get into these races that are only one-on-one, but let's see if we can at least make it somewhat enjoyable. This twisty bit that's coming up now is going to hopefully slow him down. Yeah, he definitely looks like he's only put a load of power in that and said to hell with her and everything else. Certainly worked for that first part of the course, but not quite as much for this bit. Which gained quite a fair bit. Smoky, smoky Sierra. Balls. Miss a checkpoint. Couldn't hit it a little bit too fine there, just to try and get that extra little bit of gain on him, but I still feel like we probably wouldn't have been able to keep up on this final little bit of a straight. So, but we did gain a lot of time, considering how much of a lead he had in the first 20-30% of that race. So yeah, I am pleased with how this car handles, really. It might well handle a little bit too well in terms of balancing it between the power and the handling, but I prefer a good handling car to an outright speed machine. So yeah. Let's see what happens in the second race, see if we can make up for that loss, quote unquote. Hopefully there are more people that have joined this lobby though, because one races aren't particularly fun on these online races, to be honest. Especially when there's a large difference in power and acceleration and speed between one another. Obviously I have all of the handling, but as you saw on that course, which was predominantly straight orientated, especially at the beginning, it doesn't work in your favour all that much. Is there anyone else? But this is a circuit, and as you can see, it's a lot more corner orientated, so we might well have more of a chance here. Feeling all he's done with that car is shove all-wheel drive in it and then ramped up the power a lot. Did have some fun races against a couple of Ford Mustangs because obviously trying to get the extra points for the Festival First. Reminded me of like old classic touring car racing, really, where you put your lighter cars up against the heavier muscle cars. Come on! Wall collision was not of benefit to me whatsoever, and yet it slows me down regardless. And yeah, I see people who do get a benefit from wall collision and they don't get any of the penalty. It's not the most consistent thing at all, that kind of penalty, to be honest, I find. It's clearly an accident, and it's clearly understeered into the wall. But whatever. That's why I don't like these one-on-one races. So it takes one accident for it to turn quite boring, as far as I'm concerned. See if we'll gain it all on this next lap, and if we don't, we'll quit out before it finishes and try and find a more populous lobby. Frankly, right now it just comes across like I'm hot lapping. Yeah, we're not gaining. Right, let's try and find another lobby. Right, this hopefully will be a bit more of a populous lobby. Any more? Come on. Yeah, there we go. Right, so if we get a GTR, an Escort, Javelin, Civic, which is closest car to this pretty much, and then another DTR. Okay. Right, let's see what happens. This is a lapped race, which is where this car works best, I feel. Especially when you have these slow in, slow out corners. Mixed in with some of the faster ones, because once this does gain speed, it's a pretty good car in terms of handling. Now, I know full well I could have easily had some rear wing action on this, and a front splitter as well, but I like to keep the looks of the car as stock as possible. I like the unassuming looks that it goes with it. It's kind of like a sleeper car in a lot of ways. People aren't expecting it to be that quick, given it doesn't look quick. It looks like an ordinary Megane. But then, you know, you're unleashing the near 300 horsepower and puts any doubts to rest. Also helps that it has a healthy amount of torque as well. Slightly more torque than horsepower. That helps it up the hills, it helps it out of corners. So it means that no matter really what the revs you're at or anything like that, it will pull, which is helpful in a race. Sweeps all the way around, no issues at all there, didn't even have to brake. Gained a considerable lead now. This is probably the biggest lead I've ever had in a race, particularly with this car. And across the line, stupendous lead. Nobody was past the final corner there when I crossed the finish line. Yeah. If that doesn't show what this Megane is capable of in this class, then I don't know what will. Yeah. As you can see, our lap time was about 0.8 of a second quicker, and yeah, our overall time was about 80 seconds near enough quicker than the second place. So yeah, and surprisingly the Javelin came in second, which I wasn't expecting. I thought the Civic was doing quite well at some points, but must have lost its way on that final lap. So yeah, Megane is really, really good. If we get into another race, we'll continue this episode, but if not, then yeah, I'll see you in the next one. So let's see what happens. Come on. So yeah, that was the final race in that lobby. I know we could have continued on and done 3 more races, but I think I've shown off what this Megane is capable of in B class with the upgrades that I've given it. So yeah, do highly recommend getting this car in the Festival playlist if you haven't already. It's only 20 points, and it's well worth getting. As yeah, in stock form, it's a pretty good hot hatchback, but give it the right upgrades in B class, and you will also have a really rather fun racing car as well. So yeah, get out there and get it if you haven't already. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you with the next one. Bye.